We are live. Perfect. All right.
Can I make a motion to start the meeting?
Second.
All righty. All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Julia is not here in present today. Do we have a motion to allow her to attend remotely?
So remove.
Do
I have
motion?
Can't.
Yeah, that's
a motion to allow Julie to represent remotely.
all right.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? All right, Julie, welcome in remotely.
Thank you.
All right. Ryan should be here hopefully momentarily, so he'll hop in just a little bit later here. I'm gonna pass minutes around. Thank you, Laura, for doing those for me.
Thank you, Laura.
Last go arounds. That was a big help. I want to start off. Let's do a quick announcement. The recreation department does have a new recreation director starting on January 5th. Nick Lawrence. I can't remember his most recent location, but he is coming to us from another rec department, and we're excited to see what he has to offer Brentwood. Jim, I know you had something that you wanted to speak about before we go ahead and dive into things.
Yes, I wanted to go ahead,
Just,
Laura.
make a point, we need a motion. We need no motion.
Oh, to
approve.
accept the minutes.
So I make a motion to accept the minutes as
Okay.
written.
Second.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye, thank you.
Perfect. Alrighty. So continue on.
Back to me, perfect. So I wanted to make a quick announcement and then put something before the board here. One, I saw a town meeting week and a half ago or so where there was a townsperson who was upset at the board's lack of action on a Monday night, the select board. And it made me really think about how grateful I am for everybody in the town of Brentwood who volunteers their time to try to help and or make decisions. In particular for this board, I hope everybody understands how highly I think of everyone here. Julie, who is not here today but is on the phone, I wanted to make sure you know, Julie, just how impressed I am with and how obvious it is how much you care about the rec department. And I want you to know that it just, I carry that around with me now kind of day to day because you're kind of a shining light almost in my eyes. The next transition point, I wanted to make a motion to see what the members of the board think about giving Jason or paying Jason, whatever the right word is, a $500 bonus. I know it's not a ton of money, but I think you have done a great job from my point of view over the past couple of months while we haven't had a full-time rec director in place. And I just think it would be nice if we could do something to show you that we're thankful. Like I said, $500 is not a ton of money, but I think that's a reasonable amount for us to just say, hey, thanks for the extra work that you've done. So I would welcome any comments from anyone on that to see what their thoughts are. As far as how we would pay for it, I would assume that would come out of the revolving fund. That would be my suggestion, at least.
Should we second that motion before we discuss it?
Do we want to have a motion to discuss this?
First, I would like to, have a motion to discuss. Second it, so let's at least have that conversation.
I'll make, okay, I'll make the motion to discuss.
Okay.
Second.
I couldn't agree more. I think, Jason, you have done an exemplary job over the past several months since Andy has been gone, going above and beyond on top of your full-time school schedule, being at everybody's beck and call, making sure this thing is running smoothly. So I think a minuscule $500, if we're able to pull it from the revolving fund, would be absolutely something you deserve, and I'd be more than happy to get that over to you.
Appreciate that.
I agree.
Can I just ask, so we have the authority to decide? I'm just asking,
I
because
don't
I don't know. I haven't been here when you've made a vote to how to spend money. Do we have the authority to spend money?
So you have the authority to spend money out of the revolving account, but when you get into payroll items, it becomes squishy. Because the $500 then has to be taxed. FICA or Medicaid taken out.
I think we do that with camp, so it gets paid by the town through the
Yeah,
payroll
so-
system, and then we reimburse from
So
revolving.
the select board would have to authorize a bonus.
So I would like to see if we could, if we got approval from this board, we could maybe take it to the select board for final approval. I think that makes a ton of sense, and maybe they could help us structure it. Julie, what's your thoughts on this topic?
I do have a quick question, just because obviously I'm not in front of everybody. Is that Andy that just spoke?
Yes, Andy is sitting in for Bob today.
Okay, that's awesome. I know everybody's voices, but I'm like, I hope that's Andy or not. Thank you. My thoughts, I honestly had a brief conversation with Jim. I think that, Jason, you know how I feel about you because I've told you this even before Andy left. I think you've done a phenomenal job with being a student and doing the coordinator position part-time and trying to basically give the needs of the town as best as you can. And if we can actually do that, I think that that is something we should do. As long as it works out properly, I'm all for it.
Perfect. Ryan, any thoughts on it before you step away? Or if you had any objections, voice them now. No objections stated. So we'll make, it's approved amongst us. I mean, I guess we'll take it to a vote, Laura? All in favor of approving, however we may structure it, a $500 bonus, one-time bonus payable to Jason. We would have to take this to the select board. All in favor of us going to the select board and seeing how we can structure and get their approval? Yays?
The only thing I would add
Aye.
to the motion was how, if it's coming out of the revolving account or coming out of your budget.
Revolving account. That's what you, that was your.
I
initial
originally-
motion.
Ideally, the revolving account.
The last thing I want to do, and now we're in 5 minutes, is like, this should be a wicked simple thing, but now government comes into play, and it's why I don't really like government, right? I think this should be a real simple thing. However it is to be structured, I thought it would be easiest to come out of the revolving account, because then we might not have to go through a bunch of extra stuff. But if, I honestly don't know, Laura, what the answer is. So, or Andy, maybe we should just say, yes, it's out of the revolving account.
I think that, in my opinion, I think it should come from the revolving. It's not
Okay.
a very large amount. I think we have plenty left in our revolving account to do that.
Perfect.
That's just my opinion.
Thank you, Julie. Your opinion counts.
Amen.
Amen. All in favor? It's unanimous, right?
Aye.
Everyone voted yes. Okay, thank you, Jason. So I'll write something up and get it to Bob, right? Andy?
I can take it to
Okay,
Monday's meeting.
thank you, thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone. That's a pleasant surprise. All right, so we're gonna dive in here a little bit. I'm gonna try to skip past a couple items here. That way we can go ahead and get to the meat and potatoes, and we'll kind of hit some of these stragglers at the very end. So I want to quickly hit. Let's go through the bylaws real quick. I think I have a couple here. I'll pass around. Has everybody had a chance to review these bylaws? I know I sent them out after last month's meeting. I have copies here if anybody would like a hard copy. I'll give you two there. Is there any room? Or there's room for discussion. Is there? Would anybody like to discuss the bylaws at all? We do not currently have a signed pair of bylaws. So if we have, unless we don't have any objections, I would like to go ahead and sign some bylaws tonight.
Actually, I don't think we can, because we need, well, maybe we can, that's the wrong word. We have to announce it a month ahead and then vote it, which I think we did. But we haven't discussed it yet, and we haven't talked about possible changes.
Well, so
And then I think once we talk about changes, then I think we have to put it to vote the following meeting.
Okay. Well, let's start with a discussion. We'll see where that goes. Because if nobody has any changes that would need to be made,
Changes?
okay. So
Sorry.
we have some changes potentially. So let's start with discussion, then we'll go from there.
So when I reviewed them, I found quite a few things that I thought needed to be updated, starting with the vision statement and the mission statement and the core values. I thought that was a lot. I would take the core values out and just do mission and vision. And I thought the vision was a little bit confusing. Well-being of our residents, our environment, and our community. I just reworded to cultivate a community where wellness, activity, and recreation are an everyday part of the life for all Brentwood residents. I think that the mission statement was kind of updated that as well. I almost feel like I have so many changes, I should send it to you in writing. We don't have we didn't have a lot of the details for, the appointment process. We don't have the roles defined for the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary, which I wrote them out, but we could discuss them. Those should be in there. How to get appointed, and the June date for alternates. I have a lot
Okay.
that I updated.
All right. So I'm gonna come back to you then, because it sounds like
Okay.
you have a lot. Does anybody else have anything about the bylaws that starts out to them? Any changes?
So this is Julie. I looked at these like probably over like about a month ago, and now I'm trying to pull them up on my phone, saved in my file, and I can't open it. So Laura tapped on some things that I wanted to have talked about. One of them has to do with defining the roles of each person on our board. I've always liked this. It just didn't happen this time around, only because some folks decided that they didn't want to. They put me forward again as the chair. I do like the opportunity, like the select board does, to rotate. Rotating the chair, it gives folks a chance to kind of be in that position. That was something I made as a note on that section. I did make some notes, like Laura did mention something about the mission statement. I had made a few changes on that, and what I can do is when I can get it to open, I'll reply to you with what the changes were that I made. Those were kind of the two things that I made comments on, just because. And then the alternates, like we want to make sure that we're getting our alternates in there, and defining each role, have a definition of what that is. And I definitely, for me personally, I would love to see rotation for some of those roles.
Okay. So I'm gonna jump in here, and you guys can tell me no if this is not the case. We shouldn't do this. But it sounds like there's potentially a lot of content that we need to potentially review or add, change. Would it be best if we table discussion on this tonight? Laura, myself, Jim, and Julie, maybe we sit down as chair, vice chair, and then concerns. And if you guys, Joey and Ryan, have any other concerns, we bring them all to the table, we examine them, go over all this, and then at the next meeting or whenever you do have the next chance, whether it's February or whatever, then we go ahead with the revise. Everybody's had their chance to submit feedback, and we go from there. Because it sounds like there's a lengthy amount, and I don't want to dominate tonight's meeting with that. So no, that's fine. That's why we were supposed to. That's what we wanted to do with this. But if that's the case, I think it's better to do potentially outside of this meeting than inside of it.
Yeah, and I'm fully on board. I
think
mean,
that's a good idea.
most of what my changes were regarding what Laura's saying,
Mhm.
Julie's saying is there needs to be more definition throughout. I didn't
Okay.
change
Yeah.
anything regarding the mission, vision, and core values, but the actual content and structure and
Mhm.
outline of everything, this is just too vague and
Okay.
broad all around
Yes.
in general.
Right.
So what I would like is, I mean, I'm sure Laura, you've got great things I would love to see. Julie, you as well, is if we can get those in an email chain so we can all see what we like, and that way we can come to the next meeting prepared to talk about, hey, I like you did this, maybe I changed this, so we can all come to a consensus on what it looks like, instead of waiting to have the conversation and go through the actual content next time, because that's going to take forever.
Yeah.
So-
I'm fine.
Does
I'm
it-
personally fine with an email chain to kind of go over stuff. It's what everybody else wants to do.
Does it make sense to put it into a Google document that we all
Yeah,
have
that would-
access to?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
put your comments, like, so we'll have the original, and then
Mhm.
people can put an initial with what they want to change to.
I like that a lot.
So I can
And
set that
then-
up if you want.
Okay, if we do that, where we put all that in the document, everybody leaves their comments, and then Jim, Julie, and I, we sit down and we combine comments and mold and form. Then we'll bring what we have to the board as an entirety, say this is what we've taken and everybody's comments and thoughts, and this is what we have. Then we move forward from there when all those changes have been made.
I think
Does that
that's a
sound
great
fine?
idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there any way we could even get an appendix to understand like what RSA 35-B:3 or RSA 35-B or
Thing is knowing what the RSA
RSA 91?
means.
Well, it's
Okay.
the law.
Yep.
I mean, it refers back to, so that people know where to look it up. That's,
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, if anyone knows it, then they can throw that in like an appendix in the Google Doc. I have no idea. That was one of the things that jumped out to me was like, oh, okay, I'm agreeing
So-
with this.
Sure, that sounds good.
am I on the
Don't know what it
subcommittee?
is.
Yes? Am am I on the subcommittee? I think I was the first time and then the second time.
Well, so I don't think it's gonna be a subcommittee. I think we're just gonna do, it sounds like, if either you or I makes the Google document, it doesn't matter to me who does it, but we have a Google document, we open it up so that way people can go ahead and comment on it.
Mhm.
I think if that point you put all your comments in there, it can just be a vice chair, chair, and myself, just to make it easy, because you've already put your comments in at that point, basically, and then we can get to come to the board all at once.
That's,
But
a-
that's just my initial.
but that's a
we can change
subcommittee,
this.
that the chair, the vice chair, and yourself are subcommittee,
Well, I'm not a voting member.
but still a subcommittee.
It would-
You're
okay,
part of
I
the
don't know
subcommittee, so,
process. Okay.
okay.
Whatever terminology we would like to use. I mean, I would open it up potentially to other people, but I don't know what the best method is. This is kind of open. I don't have a vote, so.
I mean, I have less interest in doing that than Laura does, I'll tell you that.
I mean, I've
I don't
done,
mean to volunteer you. I apologize.
No, no, it's all right, I'll do it.
well, I mean, I've worked with board of directors before on doing bylaws, so I would like to be part of the subcommittee. So I have experience with it.
So, unless anybody else would like to be a part of this, potentially it could just be Laura, Julie, and I. Unless somebody else would like to be involved in that process too. I don't want to exclude.
I mean, I've
anyone,
got
but-
some like things I'd like to say and change on it, so if
Well,
that
yeah,
means
yeah.
I need to be a part of a subcommittee, I
so-
will join it.
Well, I think the idea, at least this is how my vision was just we have the Google document, everybody puts their comments, feedback, like these are the changes we need to make, and then the subcommittee would go through and look at everybody's feedback and mold it all in to make the new bylaws that we would move forward.
Yeah,
with.
I mean that works for me. Whatever,
Okay.
whatever's
That way everybody's getting their
most
feedback
clever.
in there, everybody's been heard, we kind of just take it all and mold it into one
yes.
thing, and then we'll
It's
have
fine.
it up for review and move forward. What's up, Ryan?
That's fine.
That's fine?
Yeah.
Okay,
For me.
so Jim, we'll spare you, and
You- you
Laura.
let me know. I mean, the new director's gonna come in, take a look at it, might wanna change some
Sure.
things anyways.
Well, that's what this will be. This will definitely be a. We'll get this document made so people can go ahead and start doing this
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But we'll definitely loop Nick in when he starts in January, and we can go ahead and sit down together and get this done. So, all right. Do we need a motion to do that? I think we can just kind of say we're moving forward with
I
that.
think we can say we're moving forward.
Okay. All right. We're gonna move forward, and we'll talk about the bylaws in the near future. All right. Let's see. Let's jump into the big topic for today. Actually, I want to provide a quick update. The furnace has been installed at the rec center. It is done. It is good to go. The only thing is the air conditioning was not able to be put in yet. They're going to reschedule a time to have people come by to install that. But right now we're in the middle of winter. We don't need to worry about
Yeah,
air
I think we're
conditioning.
okay.
Due to the snow that was on the ground, they weren't able to access the space they needed. So they said they would reschedule that. But the furnace is set.
That's huge.
New thermostats are in the building as well. I was meant to grab pictures for you guys so you can see it, but it's all
It's
nice.
working.
It's working.
Great.
So we're good. But I just want to provide that quick update there. All right.
We're lucky.
So let's jump now into the big meat and potatoes of tonight. As many of you know, we have excess funds in our budget this year due to losing Andy, and just due to all the spending overall. One of the things that we've had a bunch of different ideas been kicked around and how we want to spend some of this money, because we do have some equipment purchases ideas we've talked about, some improvements that we've talked about. So I kind of want to take some time here and talk about kind of what do we want to do. This is separate from the 2026 projects that we said we talk about. We'll see where we get. We might table that. But this is just what do we want to do with the excess funds that we have in our budget. I believe in everyone's person here, they should have a copy of our to-date budget. So that kind of gives you a rough idea of where we're at. Julie, I apologize you're not here, so you can't see it, but we can kind of walk you through the numbers here.
I would like to understand first and foremost, and to me this is the most important thing, is what happens with these unused funds? Does it go back to the town? How exactly does this work?
So Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, or anybody else, but to my knowledge, the funds that are not used out of our budget go to the unreserved balance funds, and it's up to the select board to decide where those funds are used, or the town chooses.
So the unreserved fund balance could be spent two ways. Normally, it's used to offset taxes, but also town meeting can use them to fund warrant articles.
Okay.
So it just can't be spent.
Okay. After 2020, yeah. So Julie, I just texted you a picture of the
I
budget
saw
sheet
that,
there.
thank you.
Yeah. So that's hopefully answers your question.
Yeah, because first and foremost is my personal opinion. There are a lot of relatively small things that need upgrades specifically regarding like equipment. I mean, we just came out of soccer season and the nets are complete garbage. Like the basketballs could use an upgrade. Like even just like small sports equipment, I think could use an upgrade that wouldn't be a giant chunk of money, but is really necessary for us to continue to have good equipment for our kids moving forward that lasts a while. If we were going to spend it on anything at all, I think that's the most pertinent thing to at least consider. That's my opinion.
Okay. I know we've had a couple different ideas. I know initially when I learned about this excess funds that we have to use them, or we should try to use them, we talked about encumbering funds. I've done a lot of research on that. I've spoken with Paul on that one a little bit. It sounds like we got a bunch of hoops to go through if we want to try to do that. The project itself, I was able to get an updated quote from Gary from Hillside.
Is for
It came-
aeration.
Irrigation.
Irrigation, sorry.
Yep, no, you're good. I don't have it with me; it's in my office. It is $29,000 roughly in change was the full project. And I discovered there's a policy in place that projects over $10,000 need to go out to bid. So we can't necessarily use this first quote. Just go ahead and get this project done and use it to encumber funds. So because of that, it looks like encumbering funds for this specific project is off the table, which bit of a bummer, but it is what it is. We got to move forward. So we'll discuss the irrigation itself at a later point. I don't think that needs to be brought up today, or at least in this section here. But because of that, we do have money to use. So Joey brought up, using or purchasing some new sports equipment, basketball, soccer balls, nets.
Yeah.
I know Jody, one of your ideas that you had brought up was buying potentially cushions or padded chairs for the rec center, especially if we're doing a lot of senior programming there.
Yeah, you can, for less than $10, you can get like a 2-inch thick cushion. I just think some of the seniors would appreciate. Every once in a while I see one bring in their own cushion.
Mm-hmm.
It just would be
Sure.
an easy thing, and everybody that used the center could use it. Get pretty maroon or bright blue color or something.
Sure.
Give a little bit.
So there's a
And
lot
not
of
very expensive.
Yeah, there's a lot of ideas on the table, and so I don't want to personally, I don't want to shut any of them down, but I'd like to talk about it, kind of see what do we want to do, where do we rack and stack priorities. We do have to justify it into a couple different categories, when we do go ahead and use it for a line item, but there's some wiggle room there. So I guess I'm kind of opening up the floor and saying, what do we think?
I also would like to voice my opinion, the fact that I don't want to necessarily use a giant chunk of change on anything that's going to be, I don't know, quote unquote, life-changing. I think with the new director coming in, there's a lot that's going to be under their purview that, we don't really want to go making giant changes on, but things that could make a big difference that are low impact, low cost, like cushions, like equipment, things that we absolutely are going to have. I think it makes the most sense to spend our money wisely on that.
So, Jason.
Yes.
This is Julie, obviously. You can tell by my voice. I'm kind of with Joey a little bit as well, because I remember mentioning the equipment to you when this first got talked about. I know there's some things that are there, and now that we have a rec director who will be coming in, I would like that person to be able to do basically a check, almost like a checklist of what he wants to see. He's clearly run 2 recreation departments, so I'd like for him to kind of give us what his big things are, because you'll be working with him. So I feel like we always need new basketballs. There's always need for new soccer balls because they just get pounded on. One of the things, and this doesn't have to necessarily have to do with this particular money, but I did want to mention it, and I forgot to send you an email on it. A couple of years ago, we agreed and we voted in the previous board. We said yes to the new basketball hoops. And then it got poo-pooed on from someone who's no longer here. And I think that needs to also be looked at because we did have that money put aside to be able to do that. So just throwing some stuff out there in regards to what we will need for our families, but I'm kind of gearing towards making sure we have good equipment, especially with a new director coming in. And I think the town's families and stuff, even the cushions, I think is great for the senior center. I've sat on those chairs myself, and I think cushions would be amazing. So I think looking at smaller things might be a good option, but that's just some of my 2 cents of how we look for what I consider needs as opposed to wants.
Sure. Okay.
I have one thing to raise with regard to a while back. There was some concern around the kitchen over at the rec center. Is there an oven or something of that nature that is still very either inoperable or barely operating?
So we have 2 ovens and stovetops at the rec center. I was using them today to cook lunch.
Yeah.
The stovetops both work, but only one of the 2 ovens currently function.
Okay.
Now, the problem that we have faced, aside from malfunctioning equipment, is that they are pilot lights on those stovetops, and we have had renters who like to blow them out, thinking that they're live flames. And the building fills up with fumes, and we have to get fire department to come down and clear it all out.
Do we have a sign there? that
Yeah,
says,
you
like,
need
don't
signs.
do that?
You think? Yeah, I believe we do. Recently what we've had to do is I've turned the gas off on the stoves to just avoid that problem altogether. So I turn them on for events like today where I cook lunch for the seniors here in town. But other than that, we typically have to turn them off to avoid that problem.
Part of where I'm coming from too is just from a safety perspective. Like back when they had the daddy-daughter dance, if anyone's going to attempt to use that, if we do have equipment that could potentially be dangerous, it does need to be replaced. If it's less than $5,000, I don't know if that's something we look at.
The only thing with that is I know it's different for non-residential stuff. We need this fire suppression system that's set up in there over the stovetops. We have a short window of time here. I'm not confident that I would have answers, let alone numbers.
This is
Before that.
basically short window, like
We have to
2
before
weeks.
the end of the year.
yeah, 2 weeks. Okay.
So, yes,
But one oven is broken.
one oven is currently broken,
Would
or at
it,
least won't turn on. Yeah.
do you want me to go get quotes? I'll figure it out for you this week.
Well, that's something that we can do. I mean, I'd have to look back. 'Cause I know Andy's had him service before, so I know we've had somebody in there. It just hasn't been something, especially since I've been here, that's been a big priority of mine.
So you think it's a matter of service or replacement?
I don't know that. to be
Okay.
honest.
Okay,
I don't know.
okay.
That's where a professional would probably be able to get
Okay.
it better. So that's definitely an area to think about. I just think potentially replacing the ovens might be too big of a project. Given
Yeah. I'd rather see us take the service route first then, and
Sure.
just in the interest of community safety, making sure that I just had that still stuck in my mind from the better part of a year ago when that used to be, it kind of fell from the wayside. I don't know if there's any other equipment over there that is a risk in any sort of way.
Not the furnace being replaced is honestly the biggest piece of the
Right.
building there. I know Andy and I replaced the dishwasher that's in there. The knock on wood, the refrigerators are just fine in there. In the kitchen area, hoping the toilets are fine, sinks are fine. So to my knowledge, there's nothing that's malfunctioning other than that oven in that building. Yeah, I'm just thinking. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Fire alarms are good.
To my knowledge, yeah, all that stuff's been set. I know it's opening a can of worms, but something we don't have to worry about now is Impact Fire did say that we should look into replacing our fire suppression system in the future, but that's not a now problem. I don't think. There's just in their most recent inspection, they're saying it's going to be updated. So when it comes to safety, there's nothing that screams at me.
Okay. The other thing that I would wonder aloud is if any additional funds under a certain level, if we could put any of that toward the snack shack and trying to do any necessary repairs and doing whatever needs to be done to get that up into a better.
So the tricky part with using these funds is I basically need an invoice to give to the admin office, and they go ahead and move money. So I like the credit card. I could go to Lowe's or whatever and purchase whatever we need through the revolving account, nice and easy. But certain things are difficult because I need an invoice basically.
Okay.
So some places might be able to, like I might be able to go to Lowe's and say, hey, I want to purchase all this. Can I get this on an invoice and set up the card? It's possible. I've never done it before, but I don't see why they wouldn't potentially. I don't know. I've never done it, but so there's a lot of unknowns here as well. So I apologize. I don't have concrete answers tonight, but this is very new to waters for me too.
You can get an invoice for like the sports equipment, the joy
That stuff I could, if we said we wanted to buy new soccer balls tomorrow, I could have those ordered by tomorrow and they'd be here next week.
Any field maintenance type stuff that needs to be upgraded.
Field maintenance, I mean, that's all the lawn, like mowing the lawn, all that sort of stuff's taken care of.
Shovels or rakes.
We have plenty of like winter shovels in there.
Okay.
I think we have close to almost half a dozen in the rec center alone.
Any of the temporary storage sheds need any TLC?
Those need love. They just need attention. I think they just need to be cleaned out. I don't know if they need repairs or anything like that. They've been neglected. So it's a different type of attention.
Anything that seems like it needs to be replaced that we could get an invoice.
In terms of
Like
sports equipment, or
no, even a shed as an example. Like I haven't looked at them since last spring, but
to my knowledge, there's no damage to the sheds, the existing sheds. I know some are a little bit more worn down than others, just because again of neglect. That's partially on me because that's who it is. But there's no holes in the walls. There's no locks that are damaged.
What about the bleachers? I know we were talking about them.
We did talk about that.
And those wood ones are a safety hazard at this point.
I could look into purchasing bleachers if that's something we want to look. Because I know we talked about aluminum bleachers a while back potentially.
Yeah.
I haven't had the chance to do that, but now that my craziness is over,
that was several
definitely have
months ago
some
we
time to
brought
do
that up. And I think, they're not cheap by any means, but they're also not massively expensive. You can get the 3 sets, 5 sets for like $1,000 or $2,000.
Yeah, the policy that was in place, anything under $5,000, department heads, so technically that's me right now, has the ability to go ahead and make those purchases.
I would at least look at those because that could, those are going to have to be changed. That's not, in my mind, that's not a major project that necessarily needs a director decision. Like, I don't have my kids run all over them because I know they're either going to break underneath them or they're going to get splinters everywhere and have to go to the hospital and get a tetanus shot.
They're
or
old
something.
wooden, yeah.
Exactly. So
that's definitely an idea.
So these are small items?
So Jason.
Oh, one second, Julie. Laura was saying something.
Sure. Okay.
I think some of the folding tables at one point were broken. I don't know if you've replaced those in the last couple of years.
I know Annie, I ordered a couple tables before he left.
Okay.
Some of them have broke on us, so some have been able to pop back in place and we're able to keep using them.
Does it make sense to go ahead and order a few new, if you have funds left over on this list to order a few? I would say those, and then
like plastic tables.
the other thing is for the seniors, we had talked about possibly doing a kitchen area in the basement where there would be a microwave, a mini fridge, and a Keurig. A Keurig, a coffee pot, but the Keurig. You're right. So obviously you'd have to use a folding table for now, but does it make sense if there's extra money that you don't have allotted to pick up those 3 items?
You mean
a mini fridge, a microwave, and a Keurig,
something that we can,
and coffee pots. If you're gonna get the Keurig coffee pots.
Yeah, I could definitely look into that. That's just, I knew that was going to be a topic of discussion that I think we're going to.
I would add that to the list. I would do sporting equipment. I would do bleachers. Before and the cushions before these, but then if you found you had extra funds, I would put that on the list, probably towards the bottom.
Of those, like small things where it's going to enhance but not be a major decision-making thing where we feel like we need a new director. Like these are things that they're going to have to get done. They're going to make the rec department that much better. Like to me, it's just a no-brainer. Like let's get them, let's check them off the list, let's move forward and have everything that much better.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, so we need to make sure everything's clear for Jason when we leave tonight. And my goal is to be leaving within the next 5 minutes so that he can go and just take action, right? So if we just throw all ideas I think it's like, all right, with one of these ideas out, let's do it. Do we know how much money we have to spend? I mean, I'm not saying that, I don't think we should spend everything that is left over. I think that's why I put the bonus idea out there, is because I think you've saved the town a bunch of money by working more hours than you really been getting paid for. And that's my opinion, and kind of showing you, hey, we're grateful for that. It's a slow season, but, you know, maybe you wouldn't be able to do this during the busy season. But I say, if we can give some money back to the town, I think that's a good thing.
I estimated about $15,000 the wiggle room that we have. And I know, Andy, you.
I would just be cautious. I have your budget in front of me, and
Yes.
you basically have $1,750 to spend. Like, I don't think you should touch the $14,000 salary line item. That money should go back to the town.
That's.
But
that's
I mean,
up for
I'm
discussion.
not.
Right, but it doesn't have
Voting
to.
men.
We have the ability to move money between budget lines.
You do. It just isn't a good look.
Okay.
Especially after the hit the rec took last year about the money that was spent by the Board of Selectmen. Taking that money, just
The unreserved funds, you mean, or
the pickleball courts.
oh,
Yeah, we're not going to revisit all that, though. This stuff has
No,
been played
I'm
out.
just saying, my personal opinion is you should be careful about spending salary money that should go back to the town. That's all.
that's a fair point. So, yeah, I mean that's up for discussion, I guess. It's really. Oh yes, Julie. Yes, please.
I was just gonna say, because everybody had some of their ideas, is I think I would just, if I were you, just make a list, whatever's the most, the little stuff, all the way down to the biggest stuff, and kind of just have us, like, I know what Andy's saying, like, yeah, it does not look good using salary money to basically fund stuff. So, looking at the list of things that I think are small items, you know, and purchasing small items, I think is okay. There are some of those big things that I think we can table and put to possibly the next meeting, just because I know Jim mentioned he's got to go, but I think everything that everybody said in regards to how we could make rec better is great with the little items. I just don't want us as a board, I don't want to take anything away from the new director, because Nick could literally walk in and be like, I don't like any of that. I'd like to do this. This is what I've done in my previous two positions. And what do you guys think? And then we kind of have to go back to the drawing board. So maybe if you just put a list together of what we've all mentioned, might be a good opportunity for us to kind of go, you know, hey, we can do some of this stuff. Maybe we table some of this stuff.
Yeah, so I agree, Julie, and I think maybe, you know, understanding if it's $17,000 of unused salary money, we scrap something like a bleachers, but to be quite frank, and I'm all about getting the money back to the town, the difference in 17,000 to maybe 14,000, if we can use $3,000 to spend on these things that absolutely we're going to need no matter what.
Oh yeah.
I think that's very important, and I think the town would be very grateful to get 14,000 back or 13,000 back, because this money's already accounted for, plain and simple. You know what I mean? So I would like to at least use some of it, not all of it, not even a majority of it.
But I think
towards
we
things
need
that
to
we're gonna
decide tonight because we're at year end right now.
Yes.
So we have to decide tonight so that Jason can order in the next week.
Correct. Yep.
So we can do a couple different things, and I'm open for whatever. We can simply say this is the amount that we want to spend, and then I go through the list and see what we can do, and I talk with Julie and Jim and say this is what I think we can do, and we spend up to X amount that the board decides, or we can try to itemize everything and say this we're going to spend this much on this and this on this. And
If we're only going to spend a small amount, I almost would recommend just to do the needed sports equipment, because that's equipment that's used up, replaced.
Yep.
It's not, no matter which director come in, they're going to need whatever it is you have. Helmets or bats or balls or like, so they're not going to change that drastically that those wouldn't be used.
Right.
So that seems to me the no-brainer to me of all the things that we listed.
I couldn't agree. Off the top of your head, like how much would, I don't know, like a couple new soccer nets, like the foldable ones?
the foldable ones, I think they're like $70 a pair.
Okay.
And then the balls and stuff like it's going to depend on the quantity because they're going to give us a deal. The more we order, the more
Yeah.
the cheaper it's going to be.
And what about like getting new nets for the big soccer?
I don't even know those because we don't use those for rec personally.
Okay, so I would find setting like a specific amount, like I don't know, $3,000, $4,000. As long as we don't go over that, replace the sports equipment that we feel necessary, and I'll even leave it up to your discretion. What's in the most irreparable shape to do that first? If you have this limit of X amount,
I'm
I'm
going to
fine
say
with
for a
that.
specific use too. So
For sports equipment specifically.
okay. I mean that's the board. I don't get a say.
Throw the
Makes
cushions
sense.
in there too.
Get some cushions.
It's up to you guys.
Got to put a number on the board. I don't know if we just want to pick a number out of the air. Andy made his case about 1,750. It sounds like you could do it and go that route, or else you take a stand. I mean, I would contend that rec has taken a little hit over the last couple of months where, because we didn't have somebody in place, I think Jason's done an incredible job, but I still think there was some information flow and stuff like that that maybe would have been handled if we had somebody in place. So I don't feel like it's stealing from the town to spend some of that money that was the salary, to be honest with you. I mean, if somebody wanted to argue with me on that, I guess I could have that discussion, but
I
we got to
wouldn't-
pick a number.
I wouldn't call it stealing from the town, but I do understand what Andy's saying about
Me too.
goodwill, because there wasn't goodwill the way the pickleball courts were done, so I don't think we want to add salt to the wounds. So I think being conservative on the amount is probably wise.
So
and
you
we
say
have a-
1,750? Let's just put the numbers on there. We don't need to
No,
justify
I would
anymore.
say personally something like $4,000, $5,000 max. That's it, because that still gives what, $12,000 back to the town, which is a pretty significant amount.
You okay with that, Laura?
Thinking in my head. And you recommended how much, Andy? 10%, 1,750?
My numbers came from, you have 500 in equipment maintenance, 474.02 in supplies, and 750 in facility and land improvements.
Okay,
So
so you're saying
that's-
don't take anything from, your recommendation is nothing from salary.
Correct, but I'm not a voting member,
Yep.
and I'm
Nope.
just giving my opinion.
I'm
as a
fine with
board.
taking some from salary. I
It's-
think that's reasonable.
Well, I think if we want to avoid that, like I'm looking at the heating and electric, I can almost guarantee you our electric bill for the rest of the year is not going to be $2,000. And I'd say similarly with the heating and oil gas, that's not going to be $1,600 for the rest of the year here. We're going to get one more bill for electric. So
Does 4,000 sound reasonable? Like, it's not 5, but it's not,
To me, that's like, what, 25% roughly?
yeah. Not even, because we have money left over in other
Right.
line items, so.
I think $4,000 is totally fair, looking at all the equipment, balls, foldable nets, things like that. I think 4,000 is absolutely.
As the maximum. I don't think you have to say, I have 4,000, I have to spend it.
I get
I
you.
think if you take 4,000 as your
After that-
maximum
yeah,
and justify that
I get
it's
you.
reasonable.
Okay.
So I make a motion.
Well, before we do that, Jim just left. Do we want to make a motion to let Jody vote in his place as a fifth
Yes.
person?
I'll make a motion to let Judy vote for Jim.
Or just to vote? Yeah.
I second it.
Vote.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Jody, you can have
Okay,
vote.
I can vote, thank you.
All right. So, do you have anything to say regarding this?
The only thing I'm thinking of, like, sometimes you don't have to do everything. Like, if you wanted to get cushions, maybe just start out with 20.
Sure.
And then later on, add them as you have or when you're replacing balls, if you think you might need 15 balls, replace 10.
Mhm.
So that at least you're starting with something, if you're going to have to be limited. Because then you have the visibility of, oh, they're buying new balls, they're buying cushions, they're buying new other things, they're fixing things up. So if you want to make an impact, you kind of make it visible in different areas so that people can see that we're working, not just in one area, but in all aspects of the commission's
Okay.
job.
So I guess the focus would be on wear and tear items.
Yeah.
you know?
Replacing old equipment
High
Yep.
usage.
and cushions.
Definitely.
All right. So I have a motion unless there's any more discussion.
I would like to make a motion to allow up to $4,000 of the salary money to be used towards specifically sports equipment and cushions.
Get those cushions in there.
I would amend it,
Sure.
but I think you have to have a second first.
I'll second it.
I would amend it to say $4,000 from the budget.
Correct.
Okay.
Doesn't,
yeah.
Yes.
has to be from salary, so whatever we have left over, wherever it comes from, it comes from. So 4,000 from the budget to spend on the items that you mentioned.
I like Laura's better. I second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 I,
Aye. All right, that's everyone. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move past that. That's the meat and potatoes there. I think it's best, as Laura mentioned, we were going to talk about a lot of 2026 projects, stuff like that, our roadmap. I do think it's wise. Let's wait till Nick. Previously, we weren't sure what the status was on a new director. Now that we have one, I do agree it's important to see what Nick thinks.
Is there a start date for Nick?
January 5th.
Okay.
So when we get back from New Year's. So unless anybody has any disagreement, I would like to table that until I've had a chance to talk with Nick. We get a good sense of what he'd like to do. We can bring that to the table. I would like to do it in January so that way we know what we're doing moving into the rest of the year. But at least let Nick have some input and say in his brief time. Any objections or anything like that?
Nope.
Nope.
no, I'm good.
I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna push that one back. All right. These are just some quick updates and stuff here. Internships at Brentwood Recreation. I've been working with the UNH Recreation Department, Recreation Management and Policy Department up there. I'm gonna be trying to get some UNH interns into the department this upcoming year. I'm still trying to figure out where we're gonna get those funds for. I'd like to be able to ideally pay them. It's gonna help us get more applicants for an internship. Worst case scenario, we put out there saying it's unpaid and see what we get. But I would really like to see what we can do there. I spoke with their coordinator at UNH, and he's very excited to see if we can get some students here because compared to a lot of other departments they work with, we have our hands in everything, whereas at other departments they work with, there's somebody for each different thing. So they're very excited to see what we can do. So we have kind of UNH's support to get us going. There's no crazy paperwork or process on UNH's side to get this going. This is more of a thing of having having knowledge of what we want them to complete from their internship, and then just myself and Nick would have to go ahead and monitor their progress during their internship. So once again, I'm not starting anything yet because I want to make sure we have we're going to figure out if we're going to be paying them or not before we go ahead and advertise it. But that's something that moving into the spring semester here, I would like to see if we can get going. So
Which department are they in?
Recreation Management and Policy, RMP,
When do they need to know by?
in terms of and whether it's getting paid or not.
Or is there like a deadline before these kids have to have their internships set up? Anything like that? Like,
So
what are we looking at timelines?
The last person I spoke with, they said that they would like to have me come in the spring when the spring semester starts. And usually there's a week or two in the beginning of the semester where they have people come in, talk about, hey, this is what we have to offer, and students can kind of interact, engage. So he'd like me to come in or Nick now, go in and talk about the department, kind of what we have to offer. There's nothing on their side that they need to know whether it's paid or unpaid, all that sort of stuff. That's more on our end, and then us talking with the students. They're just kind of in the middle, just saying, here's a location, go check them out, and then just report back and fill out your paperwork, or fill out your assignments. So it's not like they have a whole lot of like procedural stuff on their side that we need to follow, which is nice. It gives us some wiggle room.
What level are they at? Is this a master's program? And would they be in their last year?
My
or
guess is
are they
it's an
undergrad?
internship. It's probably going to be either their junior or senior year. That's my guess.
Of undergrad?
Undergrad.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. From my experience, I need to have a internship before I go to grad school. So I'm assuming most students would be in that. It's possible we have some grad students. I don't know what that would look like for grad students, but I'd assume it'd be mostly undergrad students.
I think you're right.
The other thing is UNH also has a program called the Practicum Program, which is 40 hours total. Their internship is 400 hours, so it's like a mini internship. That would be an unpaid service, but that's something that I'm talking with them about as well. Might be able to, if we can't pay students, it might be a great way to still get people because it's required of them to take it. We don't have to pay them, and we get free 40 hours of work, and we can teach them a little bit about the industry. So that's just something that I've been doing just to see what we can do to get people in here. The practicum wouldn't cost any of us a dime, so that's why I really kind of pushed in that one. But
I'll just warn you, I don't know if you've worked with students before.
a little bit.
Okay, because they're a lot of work.
Sure.
It's not just them coming in and getting things done and it saves you time. often you're spending more time than the work you get back.
Mhm.
But it's a whole learning experience that you're,
Sure.
so there's something to be said for that. I'm very much supportive of internships, but also I want you to be aware that this is going to create more work for you or for Nick, so.
Sure. Well, that's why I'm at least getting the legwork done now.
Sure.
There's nothing saying that we're committing to it. Because if Nick's like, this is a terrible idea, I'm just starting, then we
Not,
just hold
yeah,
off.
I would never say it's terrible. I love students. I totally support learning, but just so you, like, I want you to know going into it that sometimes they're a handful.
I get you. So it's just something I'm doing, like, getting those first steps figured out, because I think that's something that would be beneficial, A, to the town, but B, to the community, because I do know there's some Brentwood Exeter kids that do go to UNH, and if we can give them an internship here in their hometown, I think that's great. So just a little updated more over there for you guys. I'm gonna jump down a little bit to the craft fair there. That's something that, Laura, you had requested that was on the agenda. Was there anything specific that you were hoping to discuss in regards to the craft fair?
I wondered if you ever just look at events after to see like what worked well, what didn't, if you document it, if you write that down.
I haven't written it down.
Okay.
But I've been able to talk with a lot of people about it because I've heard nothing but good news about that.
Okay.
From what I've heard, everybody would like to return next year, so we're gonna have an interesting puzzle of trying to get in some new people and trying to make everybody else come back that would like to come back. The only hiccup, and I've already been working with Barbara, who helps do a lot of our ceramics programs, our senior programs, and helped with the craft fair. This year we had 5 weekends in November. This upcoming year we only have 4, so it's a little bit more condensed. We're competing with everybody else in the area, so we're trying to figure out what date specifically. Still, we're gonna move to this year, but she is full throttle. She's already trying to get us to start advertising and stuff. She was very excited about how it went. I know the attendees that I spoke with, that they are all very happy with the variety. They're surprised with how many people came out. I know we had a couple facility hiccups that popped up. There were some lights that weren't working. There was a small, there's a doorway that had a little lip on it that people were tripping on. So aside from that, though, there was not a single bad thing I heard about the event in terms of, oh, it was too crowded, it was this, it was that. Everybody I've talked to has enjoyed that event. So I think we have full intentions of trying to do that again next year.
Okay, I support that. I just think that you could have made more money with it, which for the first year, that's really not to be unexpected. But I would like to, I think I would want you to have a committee next year.
Yes.
From the rec commission. I would like to be part of that because I think there's just a few things you could do that would improve the income back. And we don't need to talk about it here. But no, I think that's a great idea.
Sure.
And I actually would like to later talk to you about broadening the day in Brentwood. So, okay.
I know Barbara, who's been helping us out, and then we have another volunteer named Denise who helped us out with this event. The two of them, I'm sure if we ever have a committee together, I'm sure they would love to sit in and be a part of that and help out, because they did a lot of the legwork for me this go around. For me, it was a lot of just the day of getting a lot of stuff down.
Sure.
But they did a lot of the advertising, getting vendors. So they're the ones that are very passionate about it. So
That's great.
I would love to get a committee going for that.
Great.
I'd say probably springtime is when
Okay.
we start looking at that.
Okay. I'd just like to see,
Sure.
for the amount of effort and time put into it, I'd like you to see more financial
Yeah,
gains
yeah.
for it on behalf of the center. And I
Well-
think there's a lot of potential.
Yes, we only made a couple $100 this go around. I want to say it was like $300-400. It
Sure.
wasn't a whole lot, but that wasn't, as I said, Laura said, it wasn't really our goal this first go around to really make profit. It was really just to see if there was an interest and see what the feedback was. But based off of the turnout, based off of the feedback, I think it's definitely worth ramping it up a little bit. And all those volunteers I've mentioned, they're like, we need to keep
Yeah.
going because there's a lot of room here. So
I think it's great.
I think we're all on the same page.
Okay.
Which is great.
Excellent.
Anything else craft fair related? All right. Anybody else have questions about the craft fair? All right. Cool. We'll move on. Field rates. This is something I want to try to cruise by here. This is something that I spoke with Julie. Oh, Julie, I apologize. I just kind of skipped over you. Is there anything craft fair related that you want to talk about?
No, I actually went in there just to see how everything was laid out. Actually, it looked great, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again next year.
Perfect. I apologize. I'm looking around at the
No,
table and
you're
forgot
fine,
you're on my
you're
phone.
fine.
All right.
Don't worry about it.
Field rates. This is something I know I spoke with Julie about. I spoke with Jim about because I realized when I was giving out our invoices for the fall here, the way that I believe we should have been handing out invoices was not the way that Andy has been doing it in the past. He much as I love Andy, I noticed that he was only charging basically for one field usage when a lot of like EYSA, who's our soccer organization in Exeter, he would only charge them for one field, a single field. So they're getting twice the amount of space for one field. In my personal opinion, I think that they should be charged for the amount of space, not just the time. And so because of that, I was noticing that there was a large discount on their bill, if you would, because they're not getting charged for that additional space they're occupying. So I think I've run through the numbers, I was looking at different options. I really think the biggest thing that we can do to see a increase in terms of revenue to help cover costs of maintaining the fields and just overall revenue is just charging that extra space for our consumers or whatever you want to use. We can raise the rates, we can change the percentages on discounts, which I will bring up here in a moment. But I think just in itself, charging per space is going to bring in a considerable amount of revenue that we've been missing out on in the last couple of years. Which it'll impact our facility users, where they're probably going to have to request less time because of the amount of space they're occupying. But that's kind of the trade-off. Some people were using that fields for 60 hours a week, and they're only getting paid, or they're only getting billed for one of those fields. So they can take up a lot of time, and they're not taking into consideration the amount of space. So that's just my initial thoughts for everyone. I don't know if we need. I do have numbers and such, because I like numbers. But that was just a concern that I had based off of what I noticed when I was sending out invoices. Jim and Julie and I agreed to keep things as is for this year. They weren't aware of these errors or these things that Andy was doing, so why punish them for it? We followed what Andy had been doing the last several years, but we did give them a heads up saying going into 2026, there's a likelihood that it's going to change because we noticed these discrepancies. So, is there any discussion, I guess, on this point?
No, my only thoughts, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. Wherever we can maximize our ROI, I think we absolutely need to do, and we need to be charging the adequate amount and for what's being used. And I hate to be the person that kicks the can down the road, but I would like to honestly hear what Nick has to say and see his evaluations first before we realistically even talk numbers, get into anything like that, because even though he might be of the same mindset, and very much I agree with you, I really want to hear what his thoughts are first.
That's fair. The one thing I want to caution is I strongly believe, and this is just my opinion, that we would need to have an answer by the end of January, because I need to have field use forms going out to a lot of these people saying, what do you guys want for the spring, as soon as possible. Really, it's something that Andy would typically send out beginning of January. If we kick it a month, it shouldn't be that big of a deal, but we can't kick it too far to the point where we don't even know who's using the field.
Is this something we decide that, I think if you bring this to Nick as a proposal for invoicing, wouldn't you just do that?
Sorry?
Why would we vote on this? Like, do you need our vote for this, or?
To my knowledge,
It's,
and I could be wrong, but Andy, you might know this. I think when it's come to renting field or town property in the past, we've had to go to the select board for certain approvals. At least I heard stories from Andy about how we would have to, I think it was the building rates changed, we had to get approval for that.
but we're
I
just
don't know
charging
if-
for what they've signed up for. In the past, there was a mistake. They didn't charge for the fields they were using. So you're rectifying it. You're charging for, and it's going to say, and you're not changing the contract, really, you're just clarifying
Sure.
that you're using field A, that is the field you may use for this amount.
Okay.
Field B is available. If you want field B, it will be this amount.
So
Like,
as long as the dollar amount stays the same.
I think the dollar, if they're choosing, yes, if the dollar amount for field A is the same, it's the same. You're just rectifying that they're using two fields, and that if they want to use two fields, they have to pay for two fields.
Andy, yeah, something.
I kind of agree with that, because you're not changing the rate.
Okay.
I think if you're gonna offer a discount, then you probably should bring it by the commission, but if you're just billing the way it's supposed to be billed, you're just correcting a mistake that was made.
Okay. So that's currently what we charge for fields, $25 per hour is what the current rate is for a field. I know depending on the organization, Andy's offered between a 15 to 25% discount. I couldn't tell you where those numbers came from. That's just what he offered them. To my knowledge, I don't know which one's which, but he offered a discount for long-term facility user. And I know he liked to tack one on for lining the field, so that way we don't have to do it ourselves. So there's nothing in place currently saying this much of a discount for doing this and this for this. So if that's something that we want to discuss or change, maybe that's something that we'd have to talk with select board about. But that's just something right now. I just have numbers based off of prior invoices, but nothing to go off of in the future.
So Jason,
Yes.
just my 2 cents here. I get what everybody's saying, but when you and I had that discussion, the only thing is, I know you said you let them know that, hey, you're fine for 2025. However, we're going to go into something potentially different in 2026. Technically, that is changing a contract, because if we're going to remove those discounts or change the percentages for them, it's basically doctoring a contract. So I believe, from talking to Andy a while back, I think that we do need to vote on potential change for the select board to approve it.
So
I remember talking to him like a couple of years ago about something, and I was like, I didn't think you had to do the vote, but because a contract is changing its terms or its, let's say, discount per se, that is a change in contract. It's not like it's staying the same. I know we're rectifying this, but that does mean there will be a change in 2026.
So the only thing I'd have to say, and I could be incorrect on this one in terms of the process behind it, but the renters rent the facility for a certain time. It's like a building rental. They request saying, I want to rent the building from this time to this time on this date. The people so EYSA, EJBSL, they reach out to us saying we want to use the fields from this date to this date, and that's how long that agreement lasts. So for this last round in the fall, this round expired in November. So right now there's no contracts in place in terms of field usage for the spring. That's what that's what I would do in January, is say, all right, everybody, here's the forms, fill them out so I can know what field space you guys are looking for. So there's nothing in place currently with anyone saying they're getting this in the spring.
And correct me if I'm wrong. We're not changing old contracts. We're not even changing the content of the new contract. It's more so enforcement to what is on the contracts and making sure that if you're paying for one field, you're only utilizing one field.
Sure.
So if we're not changing anything on the contract,
Or if you're using 2 fields, you're getting billed for 2 fields.
Correct.
Yeah.
The other
And potentially discounts if we want to discuss how we want to handle those.
are there discounts on the contract?
Andy had depending on the organization, it was between a 15 to 25% discount.
What was that written out, or was that more of a handshake?
That's just what he did. That's like, if I looked at the invoice, he would have a discount on the invoice.
I have no idea. Is our fields in demand? Is there a
Yes.
shortage of fields?
I know we've turned away people in the past. UILA, which is the lacrosse association in Exeter, has requested to use our fields in the past, and we've had to turn them away. I know Exeter Soccer, who does use our fields, we've had to limit them in the amount of space they can use.
So why would we give anybody a discount?
So that's why I brought it up to the table, is because I don't know why. That's just what Andy did. So there's nothing in place right now telling me this is why we need to offer them this much. So that's why I'm bringing it to the board
Sure.
today, is saying, like, if we want to offer discounts, I'm fine with it. But I'd like to have something to guide me as to how much or why we're doing it.
I think we're going to be investing a lot in the fields with irrigation. So I think we should be getting our full value, unless it's a Brentwood team, like a rec that's our team that, I mean, I would assume we don't charge ourselves.
No.
So, but if we have an outside organization coming, I don't see any reason we would give them a discount unless fields were available and they were sitting unused and we got someone to take a 6-month block of them. But that doesn't sound like the case.
No.
The other thing I think he would potentially discount for, I know he didn't do this for other certain organizations, is if there's an organization that was hosting Brentwood residents. So if it was Exeter Youth Soccer who's hosting Brentwood kids in their program, he would offer a slight discount because they're keeping our Brentwood kids here in Brentwood. But I know we have a softball league that's from Kingston, and when they come in, Andy's like, it is what it is. You guys are Kingston residents, you're not Brentwood residents. You gotta pay full rate. So that was another food for thought. And that's all it is food for thought.
Are
We
our
can do
Brentwood
whatever we
kids,
want.
though, paying this full amount? They don't get a discount because they're
Not in
playing.
their league.
Right.
Correct.
And when the new director comes in, he may have other thoughts for us to
Sure,
think
so-
about, you know.
I'm cool if we want to table it till next month. I think that's fine. We can do
Yeah.
that, but I don't personally think we should go past next month.
No.
That's
No.
a decision that if we kick the can, it can only be until next.
Yeah,
month.
and
We need
again,
to know what we.
reverting back to what I said earlier, and especially with not knowing what's on the contracts and these discounts and whatever's going on, there's just too much unknown right now to make any sort of decision, and we realistically need to have Nick a part of this conversation.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
And if they are doing work, if lining the fields is a big job that we're not paying for, I'm fine with allowing volunteer work to give them a discount, but a discount that is no more than what it is worth to have it done.
So Exeter Rec does a lot of these local associations linings, and I spoke with Greg over there to ask him, hey, what does it cost, to go ahead and line it? On average, it's about $350 per lining. So, and usually it's every other week they go ahead and line the fields. So for an 8-week program, that's 4 services that they're providing at $350 a piece.
So to me, that's a valid reason to give someone a discount. If they have volunteers that do this, that's significant.
So that's it's just, and I'm fine if we want to table it for next week, or next month. But I want to express the urgency that we figure this one out instead of trying to continuously kick it around. So
I think you'd be clear on that, and that we should probably table it for next month. But
Okay.
Make sure we address it next month.
okay, and I can send out our current form. It's not necessarily like a full contract. It's more of just like submit this form. We look at what we can offer you, and this is what we'll give you a schedule based off of what you. It's a request form more than it's an actual contract agreement. And then we just bill them at the end of the period for the space that we're able to get. So if they ask for 100 hours, we're only give them 50 hours. We bill them for 50. So all right, we'll table that for next week. But once again, I just want to express the urgency that we get that one figured out. All right. I'm just looking here. Did I miss anything? All right, I think that we're reaching the end here. This is just an update for everyone. Next Tuesday, I go on break for 2 weeks. I'm taking off Christmas. I'm taking off New Year's. I will come in on the 30th. I will come in on the 30th just to do a half day to make sure I'm not getting swamped when I get back in January. But other than that, I am out of here. And then the other notice here is I'm going to a conference up north. This is the second of 2 conferences that we attend each year. That will be January 13th through 15th. So I will not be here. It sounds like Nick will probably be here. I don't know if he's going, but I doubt because Brentwood Rec's paying for him that he probably will be here. But that would be a good question for him when he's here. So the office will be closed in these next 2 weeks here, which is nice because basketball's taking a break, so we don't have to worry about basketball or anything like that. Should be nice and simple. But I personally will not be here to the 13th to the 15th of January. So that's just a little update for everyone and publicly now that the office will be a little wonky.
Is there an away message of if there is a need, someone reaches out to?
I will talk with who the next person receiving. I mean, I'll probably check my emails even though I'm away.
But you should have someone an away message that if you have an immediate need,
Sure.
email, whether it's
Yeah.
Julie or whether it's Jillian.
I'll talk with Julie tomorrow and see what she would like to do in terms
Okay.
of who that would go to. I'm assuming probably.
When I meant our Julie.
Oh, gotcha. I can speak. I'll speak with the town's Julie here.
Okay.
Stevens, and see what she thinks as well, because it might just go to her or Jillian,
Okay.
the admin, but I don't know.
I want that someone has someone to reach out to without you doing it,
Sure.
because you're gonna be away.
We'll see, but yes. All right. Let me make a note of that. But yes, I will definitely make sure the email has an away message and phone. If somebody calls, there's a away message set up. Perfect. Is there any other new business that needs to be brought to the table?
Just an update from the Board of Selectmen last
Sure.
night. They opened the rec budget and reapproved a higher number. So the new rec budget is $141,250, and that's to account for the new director's salary.
Yep. Thank you. I meant to make that note. Any other business?
I know I spoke to you offline about the ice rink.
Yes.
So can you just update the status of the ice rink? So
Sure.
it's not operational.
Not currently. So the frame has been built.
Yep.
And it's set up. The light tower's over there. The benches are there. The pad, the
The
mats are
cold
there
is
on the
there.
grounds. We have a group of volunteers here in town who have offered to help maintain that. When Andy and I spoke with them in like Easter of this year, we told them we can get this going again, but we don't have the time to be maintaining this, so we need a volunteer group to do this. So I'm waiting on these 4 gentlemen to hopefully go ahead and take care of the ice rink, and once that's been dealt with, because it hasn't been cleared up since our last snowstorm, we can go ahead and fill that ice rink up. The fire department has said that they're willing to help out in filling up the ice rink for us. So I'm just waiting on it to get cleared
Sure.
out by them.
If they did it while you were away on vacation, would it be filled up, or would we not do it till you come back?
If we, I know one of the guys has my personal number, so if he was able to text me saying, "Hey, it's good to go," I can make a quick phone call to the fire department saying, "Hey, whenever you guys are ready, please go ahead and fill that up." Otherwise, I'll be in on that 30th there, which is a halfway in the middle of my break for a half day, and if I get an email from them, I can make that same call that day. I mean, it was just, unfortunately, it's one of those things where we did tell them, like, "Hey, we can't, the staff in the department can't be the ones
Right.
to maintain this."
Okay.
So I am indirectly kind of saying it's kind of on them to figure this one out.
That's fine.
We've done our part.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's kind of my way of deflecting that a little bit. Anything else? Alrighty. Our next meeting will be Wednesday, January 28th. We're going back to our 4th week of the month. Now that we've gotten past the holidays by that point. We did go ahead and we paid off, we finally got our bill paid to the town. So we now have approximately $56,000 in our revolving account. I'm expecting a couple thousand more to come in from fall field users.
Nice.
So we should be going into 2026 with about 60-something thousand in the revolving account.
Yeah, that ain't bad.
So it's higher. It's considerably higher than where it's been in the past at the end of the year.
Excellent.
So
Yes.
awesome.
Very good.
That's all I have. Unless there's anything else last minute. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. There you go.
I was shocked when I think he's currently a sophomore.